Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown calls for Biden to drop out of the 2024 race. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back in with a new video, and today we have to talk about the 2024 Ohio Senate race because I really believe Republicans are on path for victory here, and I know, this is Ohio. Of course Republicans have a good chance here, why wouldn't they? Well, for months we've been told that Republicans can't win here, Bernie Moreno is unelectable, and Democrat Senator Sherrod Brown, who, yes, was popular and is a strong candidate, he's running for re-election. So most people thought that even with it being Ohio, for whatever reason, Republicans were going to just lose the Senate race. Well, now I really believe we're at a point now where I don't see how Brown can pull it off. Could he still theoretically? Maybe. But look at this headline. Sherrod Brown calls for Biden to drop out of the 2024 race. Now, on paper, this isn't that big of a deal. Like, okay, it's Ohio. Of course he has to pretend to be a moderate. But I really believe this is an act of desperation by Brown. Now, that sounds crazy, like, okay, it's Ohio, like, why would this be desperation? Well, if Brown was really up by 5 points and the polling was all fake and Biden's actually, secretly winning, why would Brown potentially risk his entire campaign on telling Biden to step aside? Why? Because if this fails, this is going to piss off a bunch of Democrats in Ohio. They're going to say, screw Brown, I'm not saying it's going to be like 500,000 Democrats, but even like 50,000 Democrats could look at this and say, wow, screw this guy. He said that Biden should step aside. You know what? I'm not going to vote for him. No, Biden's the nominee. So why would you risk your entire campaign on potentially losing a bunch of Democrat voters on trying to get Biden to step aside? There's only one real explanation, like a legitimate one, not some grand conspiracy. The fact is, Brown knows he's heading for a defeat. That's what I think's really going on here, because why would he try to, stir the hornet's nest? Why? Because this can only end badly for him. Because if Biden doesn't step aside, which at this point, Brown is begging for him to step aside because, well, look at the polling. Trump's up by 10 points, hell, close to 11. And this is Ohio polling. The same state that back in 2020, the same polls said, yeah, Biden's going to win Ohio by 2, and if Trump wins, it's only by a point. Remember that? Now, the same polling has Trump up by 11 points. That's what I think's going on here. That Brown understands that this is Ohio. This isn't, New Hampshire or whatever. This is a Republican state. And he has to try something, because why would he do this other than an act of desperation to save his campaign? I mean, Biden's losing by 11, and Brown right now is up by 5 points. And this is what everyone points to, that Brown's going to win because right now he's beating Moreno by 5 points. Which, yes, that's true. But there's some major catches to this. Number one is the remaining undecideds are Trump voters. You think I'm kidding? Look at the vote share of Brown and Moreno. It's about 85% of the vote is decided. Well, look at the presidential race. It's 93% decided. Voters saying they're going to vote for either Trump or Biden. That means 9% of voters, they're undecided at the Senate level, but they decided for more than likely Trump at the presidential level. That's the biggest problem Brown has. For one, this lead that he has, the rest of these undecideds, they're going to break for Moreno. That's the number one problem. It's like, okay, yeah, you're winning, but you're not up by 15 points. You're up by 5. You're not at 50%. Yes, some polls have him at 50, but the thing is, you're only up by 5 points. And these undecided voters, more than likely, are going to break for Moreno. That's the number one problem for Brown. And that's why I think he's doing this. He realized, okay, I got to win over some of these Trump voters. If I don't, I can't win. And I think that's what his campaign realized. Yeah, they might be winning, but these remaining undecided voters, they're going to all break for Moreno. That's the number one problem. And I know he's the incumbent, that's going to give him a boost. I understand that. It'd still be a closer race than at the presidential level. I'm not denying that. But This theory that some Democrats have cooked up where they think, oh, actually, Bernie Moreno is going to lose because all the Trump voters are going to break for Brown is just insane. And you know what? Let's go back to 2022 polling. And I know this is a separate Senate race, but, you know, this is a good comparison. In 2022, let's look at the polling. At the same time frame, we're in, you know, the middle of July. Let's see here. Oh, wait, look at this. Impact Research, Ryan +3. Let's see here. Grow Progress, Ryan +5. Hell, even Emerson College, they had Vance up by only 3. But for the entirety of July and June, every pollster, I know these are Democrat pollsters, but even there was a Republican pollster. And that's a John Bolton super PAC, but either way, every pollster in the month of July and June had Vance losing. Hell, as late as September, even October. Independent pollsters, they had Vance losing by 3. Santa College right here, Ryan +3. As late as October, Baldwin Wallace University had Tim Ryan up by 4. Ohio Northern University, Ryan +2. I mean, look at this. And even the polls that had Vance winning, there were a couple big ones, yes, like Data for Progress, oddly enough. But there were polls like Marist College in late October, Vance +1. Hell, for the likely voter sample, it was tied. Siena College, tied race. Even Signal, which is a good pollster overall, they had only Vance +3. So Ohio has a history of early on overstating Democrats a lot, especially with someone like Brown. Because while, yes, Tim Ryan was a strong recruit, he is nowhere near the levels of Sherrod Brown. Sherrod Brown's been the senator for like 18 years or whatever, and he's won by a lot. In every single election he's been a part of, he's won by like at least 5 points. So he's a strong Democrat, plus he's the incumbent. He has high name recognition, and Moreno still has lower name ID. But the more you look at this, it's like, wait, this lead that Brown has, and his campaign realized this, I think, it's not a strong one. They're holding on barely, but if the Trump voters break for Moreno, they're screwed. And this is their Hail Mary strategy. They think if we tell people we want Biden to drop out, that's going to win over a bunch of Trump voters. It might win over a couple, but you might see a bunch of Democrats say, screw you. I'm not going to vote for you. You wanted Biden out? Fine. We're not going to vote for you. Even then, it's like, you might see some Trump voters look at this and say, wait, you waited until July of 2024 to admit, yeah, Biden has some major problems. Really? You waited all this time to make this announcement. Yeah, we're not going to trust you, dude. But some people might be saying, well, okay, the polling early on in Ohio, it tends to overstate Democrats. This lead is not the strongest for Brown, but he's still up by 5 points. That's a decent margin. If he wins by even 1, that's still a victory for Brown. Okay, that's a legitimate theory. Like, okay, he's winning. It's not a strong lead, but it's still a big lead. Well, not really. Go back to 2018, and I gotta be clear, Brown did win by 7 points. That's the one thing I gotta mention. He won by 8 points, or 7, I should say, because it was a blue wave and all of that. So let's look at the polling. The same time frame, you had polls like NBC News, Brown +13, Quinnipiac, Brown +17, Suffolk University, Brown +16, Fallon Research, Brown +14. You had a couple pollsters here and there, like America First Action, which was a Republican pollster, that had it Brown +4. But let's go to like October. Look at this. Change Research, Brown +10. Research Co., Brown +14. There was only one pollster, Emerson, that was even remotely close. Hell, in early October, Suffolk University had Brown +18. They were off by 11 points. Baldwin Wallace University, Brown +17. Notice the problem? Even in October and November, the polling overstated Brown by like 4 or 5 points. And you know what? Let's go to 2012, when Brown won by like 6 points. Let's look at the polling. Once again, this is against Josh Mandel, by the way. This is a At the time, he was the state treasurer. He was not universally known, but he had name recognition. In the same time frame as at 2018 and 2024, like we went over, July, in the same time frame, the same polls had Brown winning by 12, Brown plus 16. Yes, there was a Brown plus 4. But outside of that, you had Brown plus 14, NBC News once again. Rasmussen was the closest poll in this time frame. One of the closest. And it did get a little bit closer come September, and the polling this time around was a bit more accurate, as actually spot on most of the time. But you notice a trend, though? The polling in each cycle got significantly closer come November and October. That's a fact. Both times we looked at, both races we looked at, hell, even 2022, we demonstrated, yeah, the closer we get to the election, the worse the numbers get for Brown. And that's why I'm saying this lead that he has is not a big lead. For his standards, it's pathetic. It's like half the lead he had back in 2018, back in 2012. He was winning by 10 to 12 points in most polls. Right now, he's up by 5. Do the math. Does this mean that Moreno's 100% going to win? No. But do you really think that Sherrod Brown is going to outperform Biden by 11 points, or whoever the Democrat is? I highly doubt that. Because back in 2012, the only presidential year we have with him on the ballot as Obama, right? He won by 6 points. Okay, a decent margin. Obama won by 3. A 3-point overperformance, that's solid, but that's not 11 points better. It's not like John Tester where he did like 15 points better. 3 points ain't enough. It's just not. That's like nothing. But look at this. Brown got 50.7% of the vote. Obama got 50.58%. So on paper, yeah, he overperformed by 3 points, but in reality, he did only slightly better than Obama. Hell, there were 60,000 less votes for Brown than there were for Obama. Brown is an overperformer, I'm not denying that, but the theory that he's going to outperform Trump or Biden by like 15 points or whatever is crazy. Because even back in 2012, when there was much more ticket splitting, he was barely able to outperform Obama by 3 points. And like I said, that's kind of misleading. Now, am I saying Moreno's going to win by 5 or 6? No. But the fact that Brown is now asking for Biden to step aside tells me that my theory that he's not actually in good shape at all, it's probably true. That there's probably some legitimacy here, because why would he suddenly say, we need Biden to step aside? Unless he realized he was in deep trouble. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.